Welcome back, everyone. I'm Theta Prestige, and this is Limbus Company. So another update means another cutscene at the start upon logging in. It happened exactly a week after that fruitless exchange. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the centers. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you all will be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration is subject to change. Have a good night. Faust gives the same instructions as always. In response, centers groan and stretch like usual. Except this time, one center stuck out of that normalcy like a sore thumb. What now? Leave him be, Ishi. It's not the first time he's all grumpy like that, is it? And Heath, make sure to simmer down before you get in your room, Kay? All that grumbling thunder in there keeps me awake, you know. The center's rooms, their lodgings, personal space, and cell reflect their state of mind, or so I've heard. Each room's floors, walls, and overall ambience are shaped after the center's personality, and the view through the window changes depending on their emotions and mental state. Though, all I've seen were distant glimpses through the window, so I don't have all the details. The room Heathcliff enters would sometimes, actually rather frequently, emit wuthering and stormy sounds. Tuh. Usually he'd snap back with, "Why should I?" or something like that, but he only clicked his tongue. I suppose he doesn't feel like arguing. Thanks to that, he stood in the corridor until all the other senators, save for Faust, went into their room, staring down the passage with a frown. Maybe he was relieving stress this way. Oh. And that right there is where the incident began. Huh? Oi, what's with all those doors down the aisle? Heathcliff pointed in the same exact direction I did a week ago. Those doorways were beyond the no trespassing line blocking the way. Heathcliff, I recommend against walking farther into the corridor than necessary. Huh? That sure makes it sound awfully suspicious. There is nothing of which to be suspicious. You are better off listening to Faust. What? You keep treasures or something such in there? Faust's secretive attitude was enough to rouse his curiosity. Heathcliff, do not do it. You will regret your action. Got well emotional and gobby, eh, Miss Cleverness? Or Cleveress. It's like you're actually hiding something there. He sprinted into the dark before we could stop him. What's in there? Just as I was about to ask Faust an obvious thing to be concerned over. Guard! Heathcliff's sharp scream echoed from the unlit area far into the corridor. Dante, now is the time to take my left hand and run with me. What, huh? I won't be able to get him out in time on my own. I may be engulfed myself if I don't act quickly. Before I could process what she meant, Faust ran off in the direction Heathcliff disappeared. Ah, shuckaroonies. Well, wait for me. Shuckaroonies. As we crossed the line and proceeded deeper into the corridor, we came across a three-way crossroads. I think I heard screams coming from the middle. However, without a moment's hesitation, Faust darted for the left aisle. But Faust, I know you're in a hurry, but are you sure this is the right way? I could have sworn I heard his voice coming from the center path. I know. Without elaborating further, Faust continued running. At another fork we encountered, Faust chose the right path. Right afterward, she entered the fifth door on the left side of that hallway. What is this? Right as I entered, another hall came into view. Its end was like a cliff. To be more precise, I felt some kind of gravitational pull trying to get me to fall to the end of the hallway. Heathcliff. Then I saw him. He crawled towards us with all his might from the middle of the hallway, as if he might fall the moment he lets go. What the hell is all this in this place? Even though I couldn't see much in the dark behind him, I definitely felt some presence in it. Faust, what's over? Dante, I want you to hold the knob of this open door tightly. Firmly grip my hand as well. Holding my hand securely, she gradually approaches Heathcliff. This hallway isn't tilted or anything, is it? Why does it feel like we're hanging off a cliff? That is because we're in a corridor, obviously. Dante, do not let go. Reminding me to hold fast, Faust extended her other arm while holding her Zweihander. Heathcliff, grab this, if you would. Are you mental? My hand will get gashed if I try grabbing that giant blade. You'll much prefer deep wounds on your palms to what you can suffer down there. Baffled, Heathcliff looked at the sword and then the darkness behind him. Bugger. Dante, pull him up. Might and main. Got it. Good. Right as we pulled Heathcliff up. No, I'm sure it's even right to say that we pulled him up, but nevertheless, Faust hoisted his unconscious body by the legs and started rushing, saying that we need to return the way we came. Following her lead, I supported his arms and trailed behind, keeping his head from dragging along the floor. After burning some time, let us say that it is fortunate he wasn't lost in a deeper area. Dante, you will have to turn the clock. Heathcliff's gonna be okay, right? The psychological damage is likely to be severe. Our work will be encumbered if he loses his mind. I didn't have a choice. Good work back there, Dante. While it is unfortunate that we have lost a portion of our limited break time to this. Faust, just what's in there? Where does it lead? Can't you tell me at this point? I've seen that stuff now. It was only natural that I want to know what resides there and what was chasing Heathcliff. Moreover, why did it never show itself to us, and why did it vanish instead of chasing him any further? These questions were driving me crazy, but alas. As stated earlier, there are limits to what Faust can elaborate. Yep, I honestly didn't expect much. The corridor, UIF. Ryosho muttered with a cigarette in her mouth, walking past us both. She must have left her room while we were out on our rescue mission. However, Faust proceeded as if not a soul had just walked by, as if nothing was just said. Huh? You did prevent a sudden vacancy in the bus department. Though I wouldn't exactly call it a reward, I do suppose it isn't a bad idea to inform you of one thing. Oh, let me hear it. The unexpected boon had me rubbing my hands together. Right, what will she tell me now? Dante, when you traverse a road you have never walked before, what do you do? I mean, you use a map, obviously. That's right. Then, even if you don't have a map, your brain will form images to serve as one. From there, on that map, there will be a starting point and a destination clearly marked. When you return from your trip, you will trace back through that way. It's so obvious I don't need to verbally answer, I just nodded along. Hopefully, that makes it clear enough. Huh? This is why you shouldn't remember where you've started in the corridor, especially when you open a door. Flabbergasted by the abrupt end, I blurted, Now then, Faust has grown tired. Do take care. She walked through the door before I could say something, leaving me with a riddle. Of course it would go like this. I sighed out of frustration, but not a breath of air is expelled from my pitiful clock. Still, I left powerless. All I can do is boot up this electronic notebook and piece together what little information I've collected. Alright.
밖은 지금 점심시간인가 보죠? 너무 관심사 바뀌라.
Okay, all. Alright. Still got seasonal junk to deal with. Okay. Just Dante's notes. Alright. The golden bows. The sinners seem to experience a kind of dizziness when they get near this thing. I hear it's called resonating, and it might be similar to how I get headaches. Once we return with a bow, Vergilius calls people from some other department to take care of it. When I asked him about this, he just said it's submitted to headquarters. Lobotomy Corporation, name of the L Corps that existed in the past. It was an energy provider. It transported abnormalities, like those we've encountered, to facilities in their eggy forms and managed them in containment units to produce energy in the form of ecophyllene. I'm told it once supplied energy to many other companies and wings, pretty much all over the city, basically, so it must have been a pretty weighty enterprise. Then one day, a fierce ray of light shot out of the headquarters, and the company went under just like that. I even heard that after the company was gone, some tower thing appeared in its place and then disappeared sometime after. The wing's spot is still vacant as I write this, which apparently has the whole district in chaos. With its headquarters gone, the branch facilities around the city all shut down and were buried underground. Offices. A term that encompasses all corporate bodies, or any place of business really, that are founded by fixers. There seems to be some sort of rule that requires fixers to be part of an authorized organization of any kind if they want to work. And setting up a one-person office is apparently an option. Sync Association. They seem to specialize in single combat and dueling requests, though it doesn't happen often. I hear there are still cases of people trying to settle disputes with a fair and honorable duel. When a person gets involved in a duel or has to challenge someone to it, and figures their opponent will clearly tear them a new airway, they send an association a request. Sounds like they stand in for the client or something. All I know about this association comes from what I've heard from the 7 association identities, so I couldn't learn much. Since the association doesn't get requests too often, it seems to be in charge of holding joint conferences and events with other associations as well. Blue Association, they seem to specialize in combat requests that involve groups of people. Although few fixers in the city go their lives without once ever embroiling themselves in battle, quoted from Don Key. The Blue Association seems to be unique in that each individual member is equipped to deal with multiple foes at once. According to Don Quixote, discerning the two may yet be a task too daunting for novice aficionados. She also added, while the Sync Association covers one-on-one situations like duels, the Lu Association handles engagements between multiple combatants. Come to think of it, most of those identities did seem to value cooperation and coordination over individual action. They also looked rather carefree, too. Gregor's Lu Association identity also told me that it was common for him to take on groups of 5 or 6 at once. He didn't forget to proudly mention that he'd whipped those kids' heinies. Alright, abnormalities. I still don't think I can exactly define what an abnormality is. So far, the ones I've encountered, for now anyway, usually had an appearance unlike any human or animal and possess extraordinary powers. They're beings you'd only expect to see in abnormal fantasies, both in terms of what they look like and what they can do. EGO, shorthand for extermination of geometrical organ. I don't know what this means. Seems to be a byproduct of the ecophyllene generation once done by the now collapsed L Corps. Reports say the wing originally produced weapons and equipment out of the AGO for its employees to use, which doesn't really seem to match what I've seen of it. Ecophyllene seems to be what the glowing green fuel originally produced by Lobotomy Corporation is called. Mephistopheles has a device converting humans into ecophyllene built into it, and the green liquid filling up the tube seems to be just that. Ecophyllene can also be stored in containers of our choice for easier transport, boxes and modules being the 2 vital examples. Singularities. Simply put, some kind of incredible technology owned by the Wings. I was curious how they are different from the other technologies in the city. I guess it's the fact that singularities are monopolized by the Wings that own them. I think that's fine. I think I'm not. I think I'm supposed to be reading the second entries this week as well. My apologies if that's the case. Let's just make sure. Okay, yeah, those are fine. Okay. Yeah, for some reason it always opens the second record, so I think it's auto-completing it for me. Anyway, offices. It looks like there's a pretty wide variety of offices. Thinking back on the time we were in the back streets of District 4, D-Course territory, the office Yuri and Aya belonged to might have been the most common type. Anyways, I guess I can say fixers, offices, and associations are all entities that handle requests for a price. Okay, those are fine. Alright, entry for 3. Another thing of note is the incendiary devices built into all their weapons. When I asked why they use fire-starting weaponry, they gave me varying answers like harmony or flow. But those honestly felt like roundabout remarks. In my opinion, it's probably because fire is effective as a means to strike foes around the target. Flames can spread, after all. Alright. When I tried asking Faust, she kept saying abnormalities are entities of their own category. You shouldn't attempt to define them based on any preconceived standards, and refused to give a more detailed answer. From what I can tell, the EGO our centers use appears to work by the user, making the emotions of self-identity of the abnormality their own, although I haven't experienced it myself. I've heard a few times that it feels similar to being influenced by someone's thoughts and reflecting it to life, walking as if in their shoes. Alright, those are fine. Ecaflin. The old Elcor logo can still be seen on the bottom of some Ecaflin boxes, which probably means the Wing used them as well. Reading the warning on the side, ingesting it apparently has hallucinogenic effects. Who would think to do that? I can think of one person. Alright, so another thing of note is that they almost seem to be outside the realm of logic or classical physics. Faust says it's unnecessary to bother thinking about the intricacies in any current state, but I don't think you can brush off flesh regrowing from a severed arm or stickers that boost your luck as things that just work that way. Wait, is my head a singularity too? Thread. A strangely shaped object is inside, kind of like a bulb-like thing. I don't know how I should describe it. It sometimes wiggles and twitches. Staring into this glimmering thread makes me feel rather woozy. Faust wouldn't let me hold it in my hands for long, so I put it back in place and let her explain what it is. In summary, it's all sorts of possibilities woven into spindles of thread or something like that. To be frank, I can't really call this a summary when I just wrote down what Faust said almost word for word. I couldn't understand what she meant exactly. It gives me a similar feeling of looking up at the star that appears when I wind the clock. Sort of like awe. Alright. I'm going to cut it off here, but once there's more story stuff, I'll just attach it to the end of this video. So I'll be right back. Actually, before I do that...
밖은 지금 점심...
Okay, nothing new there. Okay, doesn't look like there's anything new. So yeah, I'll cut it off here and come back when there's more story stuff. See ya!